Yo, what's up guys, Cozy here. Lan Yan has finally decided to grace us with her presence, and I have to say she's a fairly decent unit. She can be played as a DPS, but her best in slot role is going to be a support character. She has insane shielding capabilities, and as an anemo unit she can also use Iridescent Venera. On top of that, she even uses a catalyst, so Thrilling Tales is going to be one of her best in slot options. Either way, in this video I'm going to show you how she performs as a support unit, how she works, how you can build her, and whether you should actually invest into her or not. Not to mention you can pick her for free in our upcoming Lantern Ride. Now for our showcase here, Lan Yan will be using Iridescent Venera as well as Thrilling Tales of the Dragonslayer. She's level 80, she has 6 talents because all of my weekly boss materials went to our run to Queen Mavuika, and if you like her as much as I do, then show her by hitting your sub or like button. Either way, her talents are very simple. Her normal attack is effectively not going to be used at all, unless you decide to play her as a main DPS, so you can leave it at level 1. Her elemental skill is Lan Yan's main ability. It will give her an anemo shield, which in itself scales off your attack stat. She also does a little bit of damage with it, and if you use your normal attack or elemental skill again while she is in her animation, she will use her chakram to attack multiple opponents at once, which by the way are her weapons. The actual name for those is a chakram. On top of that, you can use it for exploration. It is very similar to Keqing's elemental skill. You can just aim it, do a jump, and that is kinda it. Her first passive is going to fundamentally change her elemental skill. First of all, when you attack opponents who have any type of patch elements on them, you're going to absorb said element and change your shield into it. So you can have a cryo shield, pyro shield, electro shield, or even hydro shield. Obviously keep in mind, every shield has increased efficiency against its own element. So if you have a hydro shield, it will end up being stronger against hydro opponents. At level 10 we are talking about a 15k-ish HP shield, and if you take your 250% efficiency into consideration, it can go all the way up to around 35k HP. So fairly decent. Secondly, her elemental skill is going to do 50% additional damage if you use it against opponents who are suffering from any type of patch element. So once again, pyro, electro, cryo or hydro. And that is about it when it comes to her elemental skill. Her elemental burst is, in my opinion, a little bit, I'll be super honest here, disappointing. It does AoE damage and pulls opponents together, however her damage is not going to be giga amazing, and her pull strength is, well, let's just say that Karza and Sucrose are going to be better, but it does help. Lastly, we have her second passive ability, which is simply going to increase your elemental skill and burst damage based on your elemental mastery. This passive will help you out if you play her as a DPS character, but if you decide to use her as a support, which hopefully you do, then it will not do a whole lot for you. I will be super honest here, I wish it would be different, maybe some type of attack buff or elemental damage buff would have been better. Next up, let us take a look at her constellations. There is at least one constellation where I would say that it is decently good. The other ones are good as well, but Constellation 2 definitely takes the cake. Constellation 1 is going to increase your skill damage, as simple as that. Constellation 2 will allow you to regenerate her shield by using your normal attacks. Any character can do that, however it does have 2 seconds cooldown, so you are not immortal but you are getting pretty close. Constellation 4 is going to give you an elemental mastery buff for your entire team after you used your elemental burst, and Constellation 6 is going to increase your elemental skill charge by 1, so you can now use it twice. Overall, I would say Constellation 2 is definitely a good one, but Constellation 4 is also going to help you out once you unlock it if you play her as a support character. Energy recharge also becomes fairly important once you have Constellation 4, because you kinda want to use your burst in every single rotation. Alright, let us quickly go over gearing, but I would say in Lan Yan's case it is not as complex as for some of our other characters. For Catalysts, you're most likely going to use Thrilling Tales of the Dragonslayer. This will give your next character in your rotation a decently sized attack buff, so fairly nice to have. Obviously pay attention to your DPS character here. If you're using Nouvellette for example, then you shouldn't be using Thrilling Tales, as he doesn't scale via attack. In that case you can go for Favonius Codex, Oathsworn Eye, Prototype Ember, it kinda depends on what you have. If you play her as a main DPS, then maybe go for a weapon which gives you elemental mastery, attack, crit rate, crit damage, any of those stats. but as a general baseline, Thrilling Tales is going to be a really good option. For artifacts, as much attack and energy recharge as you can get, while using Viridescent Venera. If you don't have Constellation 4, you can purely focus on getting as much attack as possible, but once you have it, try to throw in some energy recharge for a smooth rotation. And that is kinda it for gearing, not a whole lot to it. Now a lot of people are usually asking what teams can I use in combination with X character. And in the case of Lan Yan, I would say almost everyone. If your team uses Kazuha or Sucrose, Lan Yan works too. Unless you do some double swirl or other shenanigans, in that case stick on Kazuha, but generally speaking you can use her everywhere. As such, I will just showcase a few teams which I personally like. The first one is going to be featuring none other than Daddy, also known as Arlecchino. Lan Yan is going to be fairly effective here because Arlecchino can't be healed, right? As such, having a shield is going to be very helpful. On top of that, once you have Constellation 2, you can constantly restore your shield because Arlecchino uses normal attacks 24/7. Another team you can go for is a Chlorinde-centered composition. The same principle here. Chlorinde uses normal attacks, scales via attack, Viridescent Venera helps out as well, Thrilling Tales is going to help you, just all around a decent support character. As such, once again, are you already using Sucrose or Kazuha in a team, or do you need a shield? If yes, Lan Yan definitely works. Overall, a fairly decent support character, especially because you can get her for free during our Lantern Ride. She's not going to be a game changer, I will be super honest here, especially if you already have Kazuha or Sucrose on Constellation 6, but does that make her a bad character? Absolutely not. She is fairly powerful in her own right, and I would say her kit by design is very unique because you can kind of force whatever elemental type of shield you want to have. So that in itself makes her very unique. Besides that, leave a like, a comment, all of that stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.